Hello and welcome to this series of reflections looking at what we can learn from literature to help us unpack, understand, think about and pray about our Christian journey. My name is Maria Fromop and it is wonderful to have you with me. The first book that I'm going to look at is Lord of the Rings, written by J.R. Tolkien. This book was written after the First World War and in some ways is his reflection on this time of crisis that he and the world in many ways went through. Now, J.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis were contemporaries, and they were part of a group of academics living and working in Oxford. And all of them were Christians and got together regularly to think about how to write, unpack, live out their faith. And for Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, an important way to do this was through fantasy literature. So the book that we're looking at is Lord of the Rings. Some of you will have read the book and many of you will have seen the movies. I'm going to begin with, for me, what is the most moving aspect of this book, and that is the fellowship. And the first book in the trilogy is called The Fellowship of the Ring. There is an evil power that is coming, and the only way to control or minimize or defeat this evil power is for a particular ring that has enormous power to be found and taken into the heart of darkness and evil. There are many people that could do this, but the ring is very powerful, and people who have power are often very vulnerable to more power. And so a wise wizard, Gandalf, decides that the thing to do is to ask the most unlikely of beings, small little hobbits that are like people, but much smaller, with very big feet, to help him in a quest to destroy this ring of power. The ring of power is found in Hobbiton, which is where these hobbits live in the Shire. And Gandalf quickly realizes that he and two hobbits alone will never be able to accomplish this journey on their own. But they faithfully set out. Unbeknownst to them, they're being followed by another two hobbits who also join in the gang. They travel on and they meet with somebody called Strider, who is a human being, and he knows the lands very well, and he has tremendous wisdom and skills in survival, and he joins the group. And then they are joined by somebody else called Boromir, another human, and then they are joined by an elf, and then they are joined by a dwarf. And this motley crew become the Fellowship of the Ring. They together will try to defeat evil. Now, the important thing here is that they all come from different backgrounds. None of them are particularly amazing. None of them have great wealth and power. None of them have extraordinary gifts, although Gandalf, the wizard, does have very powerful gifts, and Strider has a lot of knowledge. But each of them will play an important role. And so for me, the first thing about Lord of the Rings is that a fellowship is needed if we are going to go on a journey. And in our fellowship, we need people with willing hearts. And that's really the most important thing. And this is very much what we see echoed when Jesus brings together his disciples. None of them are extraordinary people. They're just ordinary people, but they're ordinary people with a willingness of heart. Ordinary people that believe in their mission. Ordinary people that are going to give of their best. As we go through COVID, we really are on something of a journey. And I think the question we need to ask ourselves is, who is my fellowship? Who am I journeying with through this very difficult time? And your fellowship need not be big, but who is in that fellowship? And as you think about those people today, give thanks for them and recognize that it is in being together on your journey in a fellowship that we will get through this extraordinary time, just as Jesus with his disciples was able to achieve his ministry because he was part of an extraordinary fellowship made up of ordinary people. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me, and I look forward to our next reflection together.